Hello and welcome to Container Days Hybrid Hamburg. My name is Geoff Burke and I have been in IT for 20 years and doing backup and data protection for 13 years. I'm a Veeam legend and a Veeam Vanguard and a Calico Big Cat ambassador. Today, my talk is about my own experience and what I did when it came to Kubernetes and containers. And the topic is, I was a happy admin until containers came along. Okay. In fact, I'm happy again, but there was a time when I was a little bit worried. Okay. So what we realize is happening is there is a revolution taking place. And revolutions normally make things change and change rather drastically. So about 2 years ago, I started to understand that something was happening. Containers have been around for a long time, but after 2014, after Docker arrived on the scene, and then Kubernetes was released from Google, I realized this is big, and I started reading all these scary articles about how the IT world's going to change. In a few years, you won't be able to get a job, and so on and so forth. And so I think there are probably a lot of people who are going through a similar situation, or people perhaps who are just starting their IT careers and are thinking, well, wait a minute, what should I study? What should I do? All right. So the next obvious question is, what does this mean to you? What does the revolution mean, the Kubernetes container revolution mean to you? And what I said just previously is important. It means different things to different people. If you've been in IT for 20 years and you have certain skill sets, it's going to mean something different than if you're just starting off, quite obviously. Okay? So how can we, as ops and admins, stay relevant? This is more a question for people like myself who've been around for a while. So if you've been in operations for a while, you've been a system administrator, how do we stay relevant? There's always that worry when there's a big change technology that perhaps my skills aren't going to be needed. I become redundant. It's a very scary thing. And one of the questions that actually was a real question to ask me recently, are you telling me I spent years learning vSphere for nothing? There's a certain frustration because a lot of us IT people have had to do our certifications and our learning on our own time. I mean, there are employers who let you, but inevitably you're going to be doing some on your own time because you enjoy it and whatnot. And so it's not very nice to think that you've done all this studying, you've got all these certifications, and guess what? In a few years, it's all done for nothing. Now, that's not the case, but I do get that question. And of course, the worst situation that can arise at times is the panic situation when you wake up in the middle of the night thinking, I'm going to have to go, and be a garbage collector or something. Not that a garbage collector is bad, but I'm just saying it's not something I want to do. So you panic and you don't think straight. So we have to do something. We have to take action with all of this. And the way I believe to do, what do I do? So the question I ask myself, what do I do? Okay. Most importantly, what you need to do, and this is not just for the Kubernetes revolution, containerization revolution, but for everything, is do a sober self-assessment. In our case, I would take a piece of paper or use Notepad on my desktop and write down, okay, what are my skills? What do I know? What certification do I have? Put it all down on paper, and then that'll help you assess where you are right now. Okay? Next, where do I need to be? And that's a trick question. Why? Because people will say, well, what do you mean, where do I need to be? I don't even know what containers are. So obviously, you're going to have to read at a shallow level what is involved in the new world of IT. What Kubernetes, what positions are there? You're going to have to figure out what interests you the most. So where do I need to be? And this might change as you evolve in your new position, but you have to have some kind of a target at first, because just like with virtualization, there are many specialties. And maybe you did backup and recovery with VMs in the virtualization world. Maybe you want to do the same thing going forward with Kubernetes, maybe not. So you need to basically decide where you want to be, okay? Then, of course, what do I need to do? So you've established who you are right now, what you have. You've determined where you want to be. Where do I need to be? And then, of course, the third question, what do I need to do to get there? And I think that almost everybody, or I'd say 99% of the people, one part of the answer of how to get where I'm going to go is by finding training and communities, okay? Because obviously we're talking about skills. We're talking about skills. We're talking about acquiring skills. We're talking about where to find them. And so I've got a few examples here today, which I want to show, a few examples of where you get free training. And this is a wonderful thing about the Kubernetes world. There are a lot of free offerings out there. While there's some great, excellent paid courses, I believe you could pretty much learn Kubernetes for free. And I'm not talking about guiding and documentation and memorizing it. There are real courses out there, and I'm going to go to a few of these sites and show you. Okay, so just to name a few: Castern Learning Site from Veeam, Cube Academy from VMware, and then Cube Simplify, which is a almost community-only, I believe, setup. It's rather new, but it's also totally, completely free. All right, the next step on top of the previous one is you have to install a mini distribution. And this is probably apart from the free training, of course, one of the best aspects of Kubernetes is that you can emulate production much better than ever previously before. You can install a mini Kubernetes distribution on your laptop and basically practice all the commands you would do in a huge data center, okay? So in that aspect, it's fantastic. There really, there's no reason why you can't sit at Starbucks all day long and learn Kubernetes and then go to your data center. Okay, I wouldn't put that on your resume, but nevertheless. Okay, so let's go more in depth about the learning sites. So the Castern Learning Site, there is the link there. I'll put the URLs here, and then I'll actually go to the sites and show you. The Cube Academy from VMware, Cube Simplify. This is a new site, which I've written an article for them as well. I'm also an instructor on the Castern Learning Site. And I'm also going to mention here Calico free certifications because I really enjoy doing those. They are quite difficult, completely free, and they have an exam at the end, but I found them quite challenging. I actually failed one of the exams twice. I was rushing it, but when something's a challenge, you respect it, okay? So the Calico ones are very good. Networking. So Calico is container network interface, so it's much more networking focused. So if you're a network person, that's the place to go. Okay, as for mini distributions, there's a bunch of them out there, and I'll point out my personal favorites. So first on the list right now is Rancher Desktop, and that's new. I've used quite a few of the mini distributions, but Rancher Desktop I really like. Every time they bring out a new version, there are extra things I like about it. It runs on K3S, which is an edge distribution from Rancher, and it's smooth, it runs well. It runs on M1 Apples. I like it a lot. Just my personal favorite, and you've got the URL there where you can find it. Number 2 is Minikube. Minicube's been around for a long time. It has great add-ons. It can do multi-node. Now, Rancher Desktop can't yet, so that's one to keep in mind. So you can have more than just one node. Okay, Micro K8S from Canonical. Another really good one. Also does multi-nodes. I've used that as well. It really, at some point, becomes a matter of just taste. Okay, because quality-wise, pros and cons of all of them. Okay, Tanzu Community Edition. This is a mini Tanzu. All right, so from VMware. And then OpenShift Local, which is from Red Hat. Now, the last two, Tanzu and OpenShift, they're excellent, but I would say excellent with a grain of salt because these are distributions. So I personally would go first for one of the first three to learn vanilla Kubernetes, and then later on learn either the Tanzu or OpenShift because they're different. They've got a lot of add-ons and whatnot. Okay. Last but not least, communities. The Veeam Community Hub Kubernetes Corner. Okay, I love it personally. They've made me the leader there, so I've obviously got it. But I really enjoy it. It's nothing to do with backup unless you don't. If you want to ask a question, you can. But it's pure Kubernetes. Ask questions, post material, and do whatever you want. Well, not whatever you want, but within means, right? Within normal means. Okay, let's go take a look now at the actual site. So here's the Castern Learning site. And you can earn these little badges here. They've got the badges. There's a wall of fame. If you want to, you can put your photo in there, and it'll show the results. This works on Instruct. So if you've known the learning platform Instruct, they have a lab section, and then you have a short test in the lab sections, I believe. Or they're just not tests, but jobs you have to fill out. You can copy and paste all the manifests. And again, you can put your face in there at most points. Oh, look at that. Look at who's number 2. It's me. But I'm on there a lot. Cube Academy. So I like the Cube Academy because it even has a quiz that you can do first when you start to find out what courses are best for you. And that I really like because a lot of people don't even know. They don't really understand, well, how much do I know? Maybe I did some containers in Linux years ago, but what should I do? So that can help you. And it's quite big. So there are 30 online courses, 39 hours of learning, and 29 instructors. Very quality stuff. That's Joe Beda, who used to work with Google and is one of the creators of Kubernetes. So there he is. So I like that as well. Cube Simplify. These are not courses, but they're blog posts, but they've brought them all in one location. And of course, you can figure out by the name Cube Simplify, they're trying to simplify it or at least make it easier. And I've written one article there as well about backup. But there's excellent stuff there. There's also, someone's talking about Kind. I didn't mention Kind. Kind is Kubernetes in Docker, so it's also a mini kind of distribution. It's good as well. Again, it comes down to your own taste. The only thing about it is running inside Docker containers. I prefer the ones that are running outside that I showed you. So a lot of great material here. The Calico certifications, so they have 4 right now. An operator is just general Calico, so it's the Calico CNI, Container Network Interface. And then they go a bit more detailed. And these are tough. I mean, the Azure one's the one I had problems with, but I've never really worked with Azure, so that was it was pure theory and no practice. But nevertheless, it was excellent, excellent case, course, or certification. There's a course and a certification. And again, the exam is not simple. And finally, the Kubernetes Corner. So this is where I am the lead. And as you can see, we have quite a few people who are members. Right now, I post a lot of things. I get a lot of answers and questions and answers there on my post, but I'm really hoping to get more and more people to start posting here because it's, again, totally free. All these resources, by the way, are totally free, so there's no excuse not to start learning. All right, well, I hope I've given a brief overview of what you can do now. So, you need to figure out what you know, where you want to go, and how you're going to get there. And I hope that during this talk, I've given you an introduction in how you can start taking action right now. Basically, tomorrow, your first day doing Kubernetes. And a little bit every day, you'll in no time have a new career. All right, thank you very much. Bye-bye.